Today we have Steve Jbara, who's a good friend and business partner, and we're super excited to have him. You know, they always say you shouldn't meet your hero, and Steve met me probably about 10 years ago.
How come he's a lot better looking than you?
He is. But no, he's a wonderful person, a great human, and really happy to have you on the podcast today, Steve.
Yeah,
Good to
thanks
be
for
here.
coming.
Thanks, fellas. Yeah.
So for those of you, Steve is a entrepreneur and businessman, and also very charitable with his time and money. And what I'd like to do is just kind of ask you some questions, Steve, and we'll go from there. But where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay, and you come from a Lebanese heritage, as I do.
My dad is Lebanese. My grandparents, they all grew up in Inkster, so over here. And most of my family's in the Detroit area. We were the only ones that kind of went west.
Okay. So, Inkster, how did your grandma end up in St. Clair Shores then? Because
My grandpa was working in the paint shop in somewhere over there.
Okay.
And so it was kind of on the way. So they would carpool to work every day.
Nice. So, Amr, I don't know if you know this or not, but a good friend of mine, his family owned a Lebanese market over on the east side. And Steve and I were talking one day, and he's like, oh, my grandma used to cook at Emily's. It was
Hakeem's owned Emily's for years.
Yep, same family.
The one guy, I think the brother who's running it, all his kids went to De La Salle.
Mm-hmm. Sammy. Yep.
So we got to ask you, man, like, what's your favorite Lebanese dish?
The grape leaves there. It's the only spot that still kind of tastes like how my grandma used to make it. Everybody else has fumbled it in my family.
The grape leaves.
Oh.
No recipes? You don't have the recipe?
I think it was just very vague when it got passed down. Like it was like, put a little bit of this in and a little bit, and then nobody. Yeah, it's been tough ever since. But I can still go there
So
and
growing
get
up,
Tigers tickets and get whatever else they're slinging at me at the counter. But it's great.
so growing up, did you eat a ton of Lebanese food? Did you have the raw kibbe?
Oh
and-
yeah. That was pretty much the staple. We really ate the food, but as far as I would say connection to the heritage, the language, and all the other stuff kind of faded, but we stayed firm with the food.
Pronounce the last name.
Jbara.
Jabara.
Yeah.
You get all kind of different.
Some people roll the R's, Jbara, whatever.
And your dad went to UAD,
He did, yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Go Cubs.
Yeah,
That's where Amr's kids went.
yeah.
Yeah, two of them went there.
So you grew up in Kalamazoo,
Mm-hmm.
and you were a baseball player.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, got a baseball scholarship. Went to a small school called Tri-State University, Indiana. And not too far from home, about an hour and a half. But super lucky, got to play ball down there. And when I graduated, I returned to my roots on the east side of the state and started working for Polk and then Ford.
Well, what
okay.
positions did you play in baseball?
Third base. Not very mobile, but kind of just like a little boulder. So I would knock the balls down, but just
But you had an arm. I mean, I can tell.
Good
it's
arm.
Still there, yeah.
good arm, yeah. But just lazy. So that was the best spot to put me.
Yeah.
If you want me to come up on a bunt, I'm good.
That was it. You're lucky. You might get a double. Yeah.
I'm going to stand right here.
So you're a Tiger fan then, right?
Big time, yeah.
Yeah. Good guy.
A good guy.
Yeah.
So you started at Polk, and you end up at Ford Motor Company in marketing.
I was on their dealer audit team in marketing. So within their like marketing bubble, at least then, if you were a Ford dealership and you spent 50 grand, Ford would allocate another 50 to you. So we would go audit how they spent that additional 50 from the mothership.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So super
How long
fun.
were you there?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had a friend who was working for the Pistons.
Yep, college roommate.
Okay.
So I was sniffing around the Pistons for a long time. He used to give me access to things. And then I think but like the moment that kind of changed my career when it all got brought together with basketball.
Yeah, so explain that. So I know a lot of the story, as knowing you for a long time and being an investor,
Yep.
but so you're hanging around the Pistons and your friend calls you and says, "Hey, there's a team." I mean, who calls you and says, "Hey, there's a team for sale. You want to buy it?"
So there was a USA Today article about now it's called the NBA G League, but at the time it was called the NBA D League Development League. There was a USA Today article about kind of the rise of the NBA Development League. So that was going on, and again, my college roommate and I were again, I don't think we ever had aspirations to be involved in it. We just thought, oh man, like it's kind of cool and super interesting that like in this era, the NBA didn't have like a fully fledged minor league system yet. There was like 10 teams for 30 NBA teams, and all these teams were sharing teams. So like multiple players from different teams on one feeder team, and you know, whose offense are you running and who's playing at the end of the game and all these other things. And then I had a good week at work. I lived over the Troy Somerset apartments.
Right down the street.
And I felt like punching above my weight class for whatever reason. I wanted to go have a steak in Birmingham. And I went to Fleming's and ended up sitting at the bar, and I sat next to Joe Dumars, who at the time was the general manager of the Detroit Pistons still.
Yeah.
So like 2013, 14. I'll never forget it.
Just ironic. You didn't know he was there.
No,
You're just sitting next to him having a steak.
And I remember I looked at the menu at Fleming's and I didn't have any money. I was like, shit, man, it's kind of expensive. But I had like parked and I was like there and I was like, yeah, I'll just go have a beer.
Yeah.
So I roll up to the bar. I'm like, man, that's Joe Dumars. And again, my dad being a Detroiter, I look to my left. I'm like, oh, that's Tommy Hearns. So I'm in this like Detroit sports, you know, the Hitman's there and Joe D's there. Oh, like, man, I'm not getting up from this seat. And
so you weren't like throwing, hey, I played third base at. No, you didn't throw that out there.
It wasn't my first line. But he was with like some of his friends, and I'm right next to Joe, and the Hitman's over there. And so I was like, man, you know, this article's in the back of my head, my buddy's in the back of my head. I'm like, I gotta say something, right? So they're talking amongst themselves, and again, it's like royalty, like don't get in the way. So they'd start laughing, you know, and I'd be like, right? You know, we're in this together. And he'd look over like,
we're in this together.
Man, for you. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, you know, Joe, can I buy you a beer? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just keep sitting here. So anyway, eventually his friends left. And he turned to me and he was like, I'll take that beer now. I was like, oh, no way. Awesome. So we had like two. And then I was like, Joe, I hate my job. I was like, do you have anything going on? Like, I'm hearing about this development league and he I don't know what he said, but I was just like, you know, I'm interested in anything you got. And he was kind of talking with his hand over his, oh my gosh, and it's loud in there, and something development league. And I was like, huh. I don't know what you said. Whatever you said wasn't no. And I was like, yes, whatever that was, yes. Yeah. I'll pick people over the airport. I'll fold shirts. I'll do whatever. And so essentially he was like, okay, meet me at the Palace of Auburn Hills Friday. It was like Tuesday. And yeah.
That's how it happens. So now, did he know your friend was at the Pistons at that time? So nothing. So
yeah, because my friend sat in business. This was kind of he obviously is on the basketball side. So
he gives you this opportunity, which is a great story, by the way, because I think it teaches kids like get out of your comfort zone, go and talk to people.
Yeah.
Everybody's human. What's the worst that happens? He says no. He said no to you a couple times, but then he says yes.
100%. And you know, I tell people this all the time. You make your luck, right? Sometimes in business, you got to get lucky. But you don't just get lucky closing your eyes. I mean, you had a vision. He happened to be there. And those two worlds collided. He put himself in that position. Because if he didn't even read that article, if he didn't have any interest, he would have just been starstruck. Oh, I just saw Joe D there. I just saw Thomas Hitman Hearns. And you'll just be shooting the shit about, you know, when he won the MVP, what have you.
Yep.
But you had in your mind something that you wanted, a goal.
And I had a college professor that I don't remember much from college, but it was so weird.
Did you get in the head a couple of times
or
what,
man? I don't know. But he used to give out, it was like a night class, like a 6 to 9, one of those ones that's like impossible to stay awake for on a Monday. And you walk into class, you'd always have like candy or some sort of sugar to keep you going. But he wouldn't give it to you until you asked for it. And it was just this bizarre lesson. For whatever reason, I remember, and he would always say, if we got to the end of the class and nobody had asked, he said, ask and you receive, don't and you won't. And to your point,
that's awesome.
Like, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know,
So you get to the palace.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm picturing this in my head. You get to the palace, you knock on the door, and you say, "Hey, is Joe Dumars here?" And they're like, "Kid, get out of here."
Yep.
Like, who are you?
So I show up on the at the actual like business side. You know, the palace used to sit here, and the practice facility sat up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the business side. I don't know anything. I am sweating through my suit.
Would
And
you tell your boy you were coming? Did he know that you're coming?
Yeah, and he doesn't really know what's going on either. Like,
He's like, "You're full of shit, Steve."
yeah, like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, does he even, we had quite a few beers. Does he remember like telling me like I could be involved in this thing? So I got this juicy V going down my shirt, sweat. And I'm so nervous. And I walk in and the secretary person's like, I don't know. I'm like, Joe, and she's like, oh, if you want to meet with Joe, he's up at the practice facility, and you got to go through this security, that security. And so I'm just muscling my way all the way through. So I walk in the practice facility, and again, I'm not sure what I just signed up for. I thought maybe there was an opportunity. There's like 50 people in there, and I'm like, man, what's going on? Are we all here for the same like job? And I mean, the suits and like anyway. So they had this big kind of glass atrium inside of the practice facility, the war room, and I walk in, and Joe's there. He says hi, and he's like, yep, we're ready for you whenever. And he's like, we'll start in a few minutes. Start what? And it's
Job interview? What, man?
So essentially, back then, the P&L on an NBA development league team was terrible. So NBA teams didn't want to own them, and so that's where this opportunity had kind of come from.
But they didn't have any involvement with this team, right?
Mm-mm.
So they just knew. He just knew of a team that was.
He thought we could go get an expansion team. We
Okay.
needed to go. We needed to have a good pitch to go to the league, to them to essentially release the 12th team in the league to us. And then we would be singly affiliated with it. So, turns out, the Pistons had kind of put out like an RFP to the state. And it was like, who wants this team the worst, right? And what will you do for it? So it's like the Dow Chemical Group, right? They want the team in Midland. They brought an architect. Like they got this like incredible PowerPoint with slide transitions and like, like good. Group from Lansing, the Kellogg Company was there in Battle Creek. They wanted to bring it. Their CMOs there. They're going to bring like the power of their brands to like the team. And Mud Hens Group.
And they're all pitching this to the Pistons.
They all want to be the one to
The
go
one.
to the league, to own the team essentially, to bring to their community.
Okay.
And then there's Steve, who weirdly represents like a Kalamazoo, West Side, I don't know, seemed like a nice kid.
Whoever.
Yeah, whoever he wants to. So anyways,
But did you know
had no clue.
you're there for a job?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
You were 25?
23.
23.
I
23.
want to go back for
Sure.
our viewers. RFP, is that what you said?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is that?
request for proposal.
Yep. So like have everybody put in their best offer
Got
for
it.
why, the team would make sense in that area.
It's basically a business plan that they're giving to the NBA to say, we want them and this is what we're willing to
Correct.
do for it.
And so then in this model, the group would own the business, run all the business operations for it, and the Pistons would have what they want, which was a single affiliated, they can develop coaches, trainers, obviously players, all that stuff, but, not sharing a resource like they were previously. And all the teams were really doing this. Like they all wanted their own, but they didn't want to own it at the time.
Didn't make sense.
Right.
financially.
Yeah. Why not? Who cares? They'll take the losses and we get what we want out of
Yeah.
it.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So it kind of keeps going around the room, and slowly I'm like, what's going on here? Like, so then this group and that group and all these other people, and then it's on me. I'm like, shit.
I'm glad you're last because you get
Yeah.
to hear the
Yeah.
different.
And I remember I was so embarrassed. Like the snack spread was so awesome, and it had this little saucer, and I had engineered this like mound of like cheeses on the outside.
Oh, I
and then
like this guy.
and there was a
I
bunch of people. There was
Yeah.
a bunch of people in front of me, but I didn't realize they were all part of one group. So it skipped all them, and it got to me, and I'm like, with these snacks, I'm like, oh god, what do you got? I'm like, well, West Michigan is really great, and it's 2 hours away. The Red Wings, are playing there, and the Tigers are playing there, and I don't know. I think I like blacked out, and I was just mumbling. So,
So
anyway.
how did Springfield get involved then? Because
Yeah.
you basically bought a team from Springfield and brought it
Yeah.
to Grand Rapids.
So a little ways down the road. So
So you get through this meeting, hang on, real quick. So
yeah.
you get through this meeting and they say, Steve, you're our guy.
Joe goes
because you
back.
like your food and you're able to build some
like
towers.
they said you're our guy there.
So they go into their little think tank. They come out like 45 minutes later, and they walk in the room, and they're like, Steve, you're the one we want to go with. And I'm like, did you hear the other pitches? Like, those guys were awesome. I might be a part of that.
I'm going to join
I mean,
them.
did you talk finance? Did you even know?
So Joe's a good friend now, and turns out they were kind of waiting for one other pitch. I think he had either bought or was looking at a property in Traverse City, and there was a group that they were trying to get together to put the team there.
Up there, okay.
And so they had never submitted, and I think at the time he was like, all right, let's just kick the can with this kid.
We'll get rid of everybody else. We'll keep Steve.
I don't want to drag out anybody else. These are big companies in Michigan. We're interested in that. So he's like, all right, tomorrow you're going to go to New York. He's like, you're going to meet with David Stern. And I'm like, what? And obviously the commissioner before Adam Silver.
Man.
So they put me in the Palace Hotel. I've never been to Manhattan before. I'm in the Palace Hotel. I'm at the NBA office. I'm going up to the thing. I had a 12:30 to 12:35 meeting with David Stern. And I'm in the same suit. I had just gotten like taxi cab splashed. I mean, I'm a mess. Like I remember walking down the street. I'm like, man, why is no one like standing on the corner? So I'm like, I'm the first one in line on the sidewalk, and this cab comes through, and just the coldest water. Oh, anyway, so I get to Stern's office, and I remember his assistant was like, Mr. Jbara, like, good to meet you, and she was like, you're Steve Jbara, and I was like, yeah. Like she said something like, "Oh dear," and I was like, "Oh dear."
Oh boy.
So as I'm walking in, she's like, "No, Mr. Stern hasn't had lunch yet." She's like, "Just speed it up." I was like, "I got 5 minutes."
Yeah,
like, what
12:30 to 12:35. Speed it up.
So I get in. He's got this giant newspaper up, and I slowly walk in. I can hear the seconds in my head, like tick, 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 tick. So he bends the newspaper down eventually after I and he's like, "I'll help you." Mr. Stern, my name is Steve Jbara. Joe Dumars sent me. We want to have a NBA Development League team. We're going to put it in originally Kalamazoo, and I'm gonna run it for him, and it, whatever. Joe Dumars. I'm gonna say Joe Dumars 400 times in the meeting, and he bends the newspaper back up. I was like, huh. So I stand there for a bit, tick, 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 bends the newspaper down. He goes, how old are you? I think I rounded up. I was 23. I was like, oh, I'm 26. He was like, what do you do? And I was so proud. I was like, I work for the Ford Motor Company. Not thinking in my head, like, what does that have to do with sports? Like, who are you? Right? And so puts the newspaper back. A few minutes later, seconds later, bends it down. Joe sent you, huh? Yeah, Joe Dumars. You got to know Joe Dumars. Like, yeah, Joe, that's my guy now. And he goes, you got to be fucking kidding me. He goes, what do you want, an autograph or something? And at the time, I was like, yeah, that would be awesome.
It would fit perfect in my collection.
I don't really know what I'm doing here anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, he signs his ball. I still have it in my office. And I walk back to the hotel, and I'm kind of psyched because I'm like, I didn't really know what I was doing here anyway.
Yeah.
So I go back. I tell Joe. He's like, no. He said, go back out there. Next day. He's like, go back out there. I want you to meet with this young guy. I'll set a meeting. His name's Adam Silver. And I was like,
Wait. So you're still in New York, or you came
I
home?
Came back,
you came back,
go to the Palace,
and he sends you back now to meet with Adam Silver.
That's not right. He's like, go back and go meet with this Adam guy. He's really the one that's gonna, be expanding the league soon. Okay, cool. I'm back in the hotel with the slippers and the robe.
Not standing on the corner, I assume.
No, I dodged the corner. Go meet with Adam, and he's much kinder. And he's like, look, we just added a team in Westchester. We just added a team in Canton. He's like, we're not really gonna expand anytime soon. So, stop coming out here. Gives me like a bag of NBA socks. And I'm like, this is sweet. Every time I come out here, I get something cool. Like, this is great. So, between the Stern and the Silver meeting, I'd called 2 teams in the league because I was like, man, I got to figure out what I'm even doing. So, one of the teams I called was in Springfield. So, while I'm meeting with Silver.
Springfield, what state?
Massachusetts. So, they had a team that was affiliated with the Nets. While I'm meeting with Silver, that owner of that team calls Joe Dumars and says, you tell Steve if he can't get an expansion franchise, he can just buy ours and relocate it to Michigan. So I'm driving back to the Palace thinking like, oh, I got another no. This is all fine. Maybe me and Joe can still be friends and I'll go to a couple games.
Right.
Great. The world's going to be perfect.
You got NBA socks
I
now.
got socks. I got this awesome ball.
David Stern signs a ball.
Yeah.
We're good.
Sweet.
Life is perfect.
Cusses you out. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck are
I'm
you doing
already
here?
kind of running out of PTO at Ford, so like I can't keep doing this anyway.
Right.
And so I remember pulling up, and Joe's giving me this like fist bump, like point fist bump. Now that Traverse City group had dissolved, so I'm like the dude.
Okay.
So he's giving me this fist pump, and I'm like, "Where? What's he fist pumping?" I got told no again in my little like Saturn.
Yeah.
And I walk out. He goes, "Oh, we got it." He goes, "No problem." He goes, "We're gonna buy Springfield, relocate it, move it to Michigan. Essentially, I mean, it's a piece of paper, moving the franchise to Michigan." And
the league's good with it at this time because they don't have to add another team.
correct.
The team's already there.
Correct. And
But-
Springfield was kind of defunct-ish. Like they really weren't
Yeah,
trying
it
very hard.
wasn't
So
doing-
it was like, we got to get rid of them anyway.
But they're affiliated with
The Brooklyn Nets.
so that just dissolves.
Yeah. So the Nets would have to go to one of the shared teams
Okay.
again. So he's like, yeah, here we go. We'll play in the fall. And then he hits me with this nugget.
Yeah, you got to come up with the.
He's like, you just owe this guy $4.5 million in 3 months. And I was like, that was the first time I've been like, wait, who's paying for this?
Yeah. We bought a team, but you got to come up with 4.5. Yeah.
So that's what changed my career. I quit my job, moved back, figured out that quickly Kalamazoo wasn't going to be the spot, Grand Rapids would, and started the team.
That's awesome.
430
think-
investors.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most impressive.
How many?
He originally Steve
Disaster.
goes out and raises this $4.5 million from 400 people, which when raising capital, it's like you're taking money from friends and family, $1,000 here, and those are the worst investors, by the way, because the guy who's giving you $1,000, the next day he wants to know when it's coming back to him.
Yeah, it's important to him.
It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, right.
So you do this, and it ends up in Grand Rapids, and you're affiliated with the Pistons. It's called the Grand Rapids Drive, and I meet Steve and end up becoming an investor later on, a couple years after. And I remember, I think it was during COVID, Steve calls me and says, "Oh, by the way, the Pistons don't want to affiliate with us anymore."
I remember reading that.
Yeah,
It's a very
well,
public breakup.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
had much more private breakups.
Yeah, it was public, and I was an investor, and Steve calls me and tells me this, and I'm like, oh my God, I probably just lost all of my money in this deal. But he's like, don't worry, Mike, it's going to be fine. We're going to get a deal. And what was super interesting to me was of the 30 teams, 28 of them had their own teams. So the Pistons wanted their own team. And we were the only one of two independent teams in the market, and there were only two professional teams that didn't have an affiliation.
Mhm.
So Steve's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna get this done." I'm like, "The odds don't seem really great that this is gonna happen."
Well,
but
there's two opportunities.
Yeah.
two opportunities,
teams.
and again, he goes to bat. So
Yeah. So it was interesting. Once we started the franchise, all these neat things started happening in the league. Like ESPN joins right now. There's a little bit of like trickle down profit share. Gatorade comes in the league now. It's the G League, right? That also comes with this. And now it's Amazon, but it's two-way contracts, Exhibit 10 contracts, Nike, all these great things. And so now, where these P&Ls were a disaster, now they're starting to make a little sense. And so these NBA clubs were trying to buy back their franchises from independent people like me. And to Mike's point, like we didn't really want to sell. They didn't want to be in West Michigan anymore. They wanted to be on the east side. And so we were left with a team without a dance partner. And so luckily we tied a knot with Denver.
which was unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
just such a. But there was a couple of months there.
Oh, they were
that-
the dark days. I didn't answer my phone much. Everybody's asking me what's going on. I don't know. Are we going to play again? How long is COVID going to last? Who knows?
I was at the last game at the Deltaplex
Mhm.
right before COVID.
Yeah.
I was there. I was at that game. And then, I remember being in Grand Rapids. We have an office in Grand Rapids. And I remember, I forget the first NBA player that had COVID. I forgot his name.
Oh, it was the French.
Was
guy.
it Rudy Gobert?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert.
yeah.
And my
And he
wife.
like touched the microphone. And, like,
Yeah.
everybody. Like,
And my wife says, Hammer, they're going to close. I said, no, this is the NBA. They're not going to. Sure.
sure enough. Here we
Sure
go.
enough, they
Here we go
closed
into a
on
bubble.
And then Yeah, and then you guys, that was the last game. I was like, well, was that the last game?
I've got a great story about that COVID thing that with my son Peter, but I'll tell you later on. So now we're affiliated with the Nuggets, which is pretty cool, and they win a championship. And Steve calls and he's like, dude, if they win a championship, we're gonna get rings. And I'm like, we're not gonna get rings. He goes, no, we're gonna get rings. We're gonna get rings. And sure enough, we get rings, and it is like the coolest thing ever. Have zero, me personally, I mean, I'm this little Italian kid that can't shoot a basketball. I shoot it in between my legs, but it's been a great ride, and that's been a lot of fun. So,
Not to turn up the pressure, but you're sitting with 2 NBA champions in the room.
that's true.
I've held that ring.
Yeah.
I've touched that ring.
Yeah.
Hey, how about another one this year?
We're gonna get another one. Yeah.
Well,
I think this is a good segue into, Steve has just been such a great friend of mine and business partner too. And he calls me about 6 years ago now and says, hey, I want to talk to you about this little company that I have in New York. Would you be interested in maybe taking a look at it? I said, yeah, no problem. So we go to lunch and he starts kind of describing this company and I'll let him kind of get into it. And I leave that meeting and I'm like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. Like, what is he talking about? So I drive back and another one of our friends, we started talking to him. I go, you know what? I'm going to call Steve up. So I call Steve up and I end up making this investment. But Steve, I want you to explain the story on how you met Steph and then how this whole thing came about. And this guy's incredible. He's just incredible. He's now the CEO of this company, and the name of the company is Air Company in New York. So go ahead and tell him the story.
So yeah, I mean, so the basketball thing like changes my career because I have all these investors, and I could ask them whenever I had the next idea. I got 400 people that would raise their hand or be in or out or whatever. So we ended up spinning off a bunch of businesses, and one of them being this air company. So had met with essentially the guy who came up with it. I was taking a continuing education course. I'd gotten pretty far. We actually had sold a company that we spun off from the ownership group of the team, and I just back to our point earlier, I just feel like I didn't really pay attention in college at all, and I'm leaning on attorneys and I'm leaning on CFOs and I'm leaning on all these other people, and I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to like do this stuff on my own. So I get into Harvard's executive MBA program. And I am a terrible, terrible reader. Like that is my worst skill. And they teach the case study method. And I'm a very whatever backwards is, aim, load, shoot, aim, whatever. And so I just signed up for this thing kind of not on a whim, but I go through all the process. And because of what I had accomplished, they skipped the testing thing. I just get like a nod into the class.
nice.
So I'm 3 days into this thing. I'm struggling to get through one case
Are
study.
you in Cambridge now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, here's 8 pages of text front and back. We'll talk about it in 45 minutes. I feel like a high school Spanish student where I'm trying to jam the vocab in my head in the hallway so I can pass the pop quiz when I walk in. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what these guys read. I didn't read any
That's
of that.
how I took the bar exam, by the way, Steve.
Just
I just showed up. I'm like, all right. I put C on everything. Yeah. It's just easy.
That was my...
So 3 days into this class, I'm like, man, this stinks. I thought it was going to be networky. You have marketing problems. I have cash flow problems. You have we all, whatever, work together. But it was very this is what you're going to learn. This is Harvard. This is what we'll teach you. Not even so much interpret this on your own. It's we'll teach you how to interpret it.
So you hated it is basically what,
I hated it. I'm like, why am I here? I shouldn't have signed up for this. I should have. Also, they're you meet once a quarter for 4 years.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's just doing
I was
it.
I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about the filling out the discussion board, and there's readings during the week, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do homework.
Right.
Yeah. So I should have signed up for this thing anyway. But I'm kind of in there, and I'm like, I'm out of here. This is dumb. I don't want to make another payment. So I kind of ruffle all my stuff together, and I get my things, and I'm walking out of the class. And there's this guy that I had been sitting by the whole class, and kind of a squirrely dude, terrible hygiene. Maybe edit that. Anyway, no, just.
But
anyway.
just very
Different
spectrum type of guy.
Yeah. So I said my whole class, but
Now I know why you and Mike get along there.
I smelled
you
it.
guys
That's your
are-
type.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your type.
Yeah, but whatever. So I said hi to him every day and talked or whatever. So he's outside ripping a cig, and he's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I'm out of here. This sucks. Like, this is not for me. I thought it was gonna be way cooler." And he's like talking, asking me questions, kind of sentence fragmenting. I'm like, "I'm trying to get my flight. What are you talking? Stop talking to me." Anyway, a few minutes into it, I'm like, "Dude, can we get away from the window?" Like, I kind of made a scene in there on my way out. Like, walk with me. So I was like, I'm going to the bookstore so I can get a hat. So I remember that I made it here one time.
Yeah.
Go with me. So we end up going to the bookstore. And then I ended up walking campus for like another hour because I'm just trying to book a flight. And he's just kind of that little fish that kind of follows the shark around kind of thing.
Nemo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that was that. I got the company here in Detroit and the team in Grand Rapids. 2 years later, I get this call from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, do you remember me? We met at Harvard." I'm like, "No, I blocked that out of my memory." He's like, "Oh, we walked campus, this and that." I'm like, "Oh yeah." Now, when we walked campus, the only thing I really got out of him is that he has 6 PhDs in chemistry. I didn't even know there was 6 different types of
Wow.
chemistry. So he calls and he's like, "I think I invented something. Will you come out to my lab?" And I was like, "Wow, that's one of the more like axe murdery things I've
Yeah.
ever heard."
Right.
So I was like, "No." And then he called me back a couple days later. He's like, "Really, I think this is like going to change the world." So I go out. He's got a spot in Rhode Island, and I go out, and he essentially has this big. And my guard goes down when I get in there because there's like 40 people in lab coats. I'm like, "Oh, you are legit."
Yeah.
And all reporting to him.
He didn't give you a handkerchief and say, "I need you to smell this." Yeah, nothing like that.
I got to never mind. Smell this, Mike.
So he's got this big glass box in this giant room, and it's full of all these little tiny tablets, and that is what he invented. So his catalyst, his combination of mineral, metal, element, all sorts of stuff. And essentially, he's like, "I'm going to pipe in some carbon dioxide." And I'm kind of sitting there like, "Why am I here?" And so anyway, this is a full day process. He pipes in carbon dioxide, and these things start moving and shaking. There's condensation. It's getting squeegeed down, all funnels into this like scientific looking beaker. And he's in this beaker. He's like, "You see this? This little clear area, liquid is methanol." He's like, "The rest of it kind of more gray." He's like, "Is ethanol." He's like, "What should we do?" I don't know what ethanol is. I don't know why he called me. It seems awesome, but like you need to maybe, it seems awesome, but figure something else out. He's like, no. He's like, go back to your hotel. He's like, let's talk in the morning. Let's just want to see what we can do.
Ethanol's gas, right?
Right.
Ethanol's gas.
Yeah. So, but Steve, I mean, he's impressing me with these beakers and all these words
No,
that
for
he's
sure,
using
but,
already. And
Hey,
I wasn't even
hold on,
prepared.
Hold on. I don't
Yeah.
want to sound, guys, Lebanese gas, works
Yeah.
all together,
Yeah,
bro.
My
You've come
heritage
full
Yeah.
circle, bro.
Yeah.
You've come
Maybe
full
that's why
circle.
he called him originally.
Hey, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I go back to my hotel, and in my simple Google search, all I can figure out is take that ethanol, add water, creates alcohol. So I go back to the next day, and I'm like, "Can we make booze?"
There
He's
you
like,
go.
"Yeah." So I was like, "How much will it cost?" He's like, "I don't know, probably like $500,000. So I go back to my group, and we wrangle up the money, and we open a factory in New York. We took the essentially the pollution out of the air. We ran it through millions of his little catalysts, created this ethanol, added water, and created a vodka, essentially threw it into a still and created a vodka. So one bottle we made brought in more carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere than 8 trees for an entire year. So it was drink
Wow.
more, save the earth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that I can sell.
Super cool, right? So
No, it's awesome.
So he gets me involved in this, and he sends me a bottle of vodka. I'm not a vodka drinker. My brother is, and I try it, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm gonna lose all my money again on this thing. So
Yeah.
but the story gets a lot better. So Steve, now so the alcohol starts getting produced the vodka, and then COVID hits.
Yep.
And you start producing hand sanitizers and
Which
different
my
things.
wife loves. It's
Yeah.
in a great bottle,
Yeah, really
glass bottle.
yeah.
She wants more, by the
Yeah,
way.
who got it?
Yeah.
She really. It's in her car, and you got to ask Mike.
Yeah,
I
no
want
problem.
more.
It's $100 a bottle.
Oh my
And,
God!
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we
Spritz,
go.
you're saving the earth. so.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
That's worth it.
but truly, the best part of this story is, they figure out that it can now become a fuel.
Yeah.
To fuel.
So we fast forward a year or two, we got this booze business coming up, and he comes up and he says, "Remember that methanol?" And I was like, yeah. He's like, "I can tweak the catalyst so that we make this much methanol and we only have this much ethanol." And he's like, "We should really make jet fuel." And I said,
Wow.
"You remember when Homer would grab Bart like around the throat?" And like, I was like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you say something? Like, why would you let me schlep this booze around like that? So now we have 3 factories in Brooklyn, big fuel farm upstate, and we're making what's called sustainable aviation fuel for commercial airlines in the UK and the EU. And then domestically, we do a lot of defense projects to create jet fuel in the United States.
That's awesome.
The
How
key,
cool
I
is
think,
that?
the key of the story, which I like telling people, is, I'd ask him like a year later, like, "Hey man, like, why'd you call me? Like, I met you at this class. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a sports guy. I got this ad agency. Like," he goes, "In the 2 years from the Harvard class to when he called, he goes, you're the only human that's taken the time to talk to me." So like,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's always my message. Like, it's not hard to be nice to people.
It's
Yeah.
not hard.
I
It's
have
so
no
simple.
idea what
So
anybody in your
simple.
office does, but like, it's not hard to be kind.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
And he's so humble, but Steve's the CEO of this company. And are you chairman of the board? Chairman of the board. I mean, it's unbelievable when you're sitting there and all you have to do is be kind to people, like you with the Joe Dumars
Sure.
and with staff. Just give them the time, have a conversation with them. You never know what it can turn into.
I have a question. They got this thing now called ChatGPT. So
Sure.
I'm always ChatGPT. I put your name in there. It'll probably say serial entrepreneur, right?
Sure.
You're involved in a few other companies. I'm going to assume you get a lot of pitches a lot of time, right? Can you talk to our viewers? What are the things you look for? I know Mike says to me, he says, "Look, you better have a business plan, you better have an account, and you have to have a lawyer."
Sure.
What are the things you look for? What if I'm pitching you something? How do I got to come correct? What do I got to do? What are the things you look for? What are some talking points that you better nail down to do a successful pitch?
Yeah. I think I look back at my thing, and to your point, again, I am not the smartest guy in the room, and I'm cool admitting
You're the
that.
best looking guy in the
Well,
room. I can
yeah.
tell. Peyton might have somebody. You best looking guy in the room. That gets you somewhere.
I don't need that guy. I need I think what Joe saw was a guy that's gonna hustle and a guy that's not gonna bother me, or somebody that you enjoy being around. I think those two things, I mean, it's not what you look for in a business plan, but as far as the entrepreneur, is so hard to find now. A humble person that's bringing you an idea that wants to grow, wants to make money, will be coachable. That's probably the biggest thing I would say I look for in investments. Is I don't need like the know-it-all guy. There's a lot of bodies where those guys have failed because they wouldn't take advice from people. When I started that business, I didn't know how to pitch people. I didn't even know what I was selling. I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know a PPM document, any of this stuff. But I have no problem asking for help. Like, I have no problem with that. And that's what I like to see in entrepreneurs. So if they were to meet or to pitch with me, it's not necessarily how can we get you involved or somebody like Michael involved, but it's like, man, I can't have an ego. And that's what I have passed on a lot this year, because I find that these entrepreneurs now have these egos and they think they're going to hit these massive home runs. And
How many times, if you said it earlier, if I hear one more time we're going to be the next unicorn,
for sure.
and you don't have a business plan to even discuss it, it's just unbelievable.
I don't need the acronyms.
No.
I don't need the B school like terms. Like, just be a regular person. We hire at all my companies on what's called the airport rule. I don't know if you guys have heard that before.
No.
So let's say me and you were traveling. It's Christmas, right? Or it's Christmas Eve. We're coming back from LA trying to get into Detroit. They just change terminals on us, right? So we're rushing to get. We got our backpacks, we're wheeling our bags. It's hot. Our families are calling. They're pissed. We're not home. Blah blah blah. Right? We get to the gate. Flight's delayed 3 hours. Are you somebody I can stand to be around at the airport the next 3 hours? Or am I going to do everything I can to get away from you and fake a phone call, go to the lobby by myself or whatever? And it's something we look for in employees and something I look for when making investments. It's like, do you pass the airport rule? Are you somebody that's, again, just normal's not the, like, just the, are you a kind of person, it's not teachable, but like, am I interested in hanging with you?
Wow. That's a lot to be said about that.
Mm.
You gotta like the people you work with.
Well,
you gotta enjoy going to work.
I mean, him
And
and I
grinding
can
with
call
someone.
each other.
Why
It is
does he like
bullshit.
you? I have
I don't
absolutely
know
no
either.
idea.
I really can't figure
I have
it out.
absolutely no
Yeah.
idea why you like this guy, but
Airport rules.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the
I
deal.
guess, and he's good for a good dinner all the time. Yeah, he'll always pick up the
Oh,
tab.
but the thing is, I think like even going through the whole Pistons disaffiliation and that, it's when you can pick up the phone and have a conversation and understand like where each other are coming from. I think that's big to have in business versus somebody having the ego of, no, this is what I have to have out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
It just makes a big difference when you have that level of humbleness
Sure.
to be able to have those conversations.
I spoke at a school. I think it's something to know. I spoke at a Columbia a couple weeks ago, and one of the questions I got asked was, "Do you struggle with imposter syndrome?" And first off, I was like,
I do.
I was like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're chairman of this tech company. Like, you are not a tech guy. Like, do you struggle with not? And I was like, no, because I have no problem telling everybody that I don't know that's going on. But if you bring me enough of the answers, we can put a good decision together. But I've never been a guy in the room that's like, nope, like this is my way. This is like, no, I need help from everybody.
Well, and I'll tell you, early on, I struggled with that. Like, I remember being in a boardroom. I was on the board of this bank, and all these guys are just like, oh, I know this and I know that, and I'm an attorney, and and I sold this company, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're done, kind of big time in each other. Now, if we get down to and
What's
it's
the
like,
plan? How are we going to execute?
well, exactly. When you really boil it down, none of that means anything.
No.
If we're there discussing and trying to figure out what's going on here, I don't give a shit about what you've done in your past. Like, let's figure this out.
Right. And I think that's the most important thing that I think we can take away from that. You have to be able to know what you don't know.
For sure.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. And to get better, bring someone that does know.
Mm-hmm.
That does know this, does know that, and that's a successful combination. Think about basketball. Think about any sports team.
Yeah.
Basketball. Not everybody knows how to rebound. Not everybody's going to shoot free throws. Not everybody's going to do three-pointers. So you get a team. There's a three-point specialist, right? There's a rebound specialist. That's what, I think that's a great, way of thinking. Because you can always, make up what you don't know.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
All right.
So, Steve, I know you're a busy man. I appreciate it. Checks in the mail, by the way. Yeah. And no cash for another 10 days. So, the name of the podcast is I Ain't Lying.
Mm.
You got to come hard, man. You can't. We need a story.
Okay.
And after you say, Amr, Mike, I ain't lying. That really, really did happen. So we're gonna give you a second to think about it,
Okay.
and then shoot.
Okay.
Go for it. You got the free throw line right now.
Right. I'll dribble.
Yeah.
You got to get that one hat.
Oh, can you grab that one hat? So I'm going to tell you a story, though, about the Gold game. So I take my whole family. We're there, and we're having a good time. And Steve comes over to us and says, hey, they're doing a shooting contest at halftime. Would you want to do this? So my son, Peter, who Peter's a shooter and played basketball. So Steve says, okay, to win $1,000, you have to make a free throw, a 3-point, and 3 half-court shots. I'm like, what?
For a grand?
For a grand.
Come on,
man. He walks over he's sitting across the court from us, and Peter gets up there, and I got it on video. Steve's seen it 100 times. Peter gets up there, boom, hits the first half free throw. hits the first three. Hits the first half-court shot.
No.
And he's got it, swear to God.
You better send that to
He's
Paige. We're
sweating.
playing that.
He's sweating. So then he hits another half-court. So now he's
Crowd's
2
going nuts.
Crowd is they're going more crazy for him than they were for the game. So Steve's sweating over there. He's like, God, I got to get this kid $1,000. So the time goes up and he doesn't get it. But
It was full Jackie Moon. Like, man, we don't even have court.
We need that video.
I'll send you the video.
We
It's
need
so
that
funny.
video.
So
we got the
all right,
hat.
So we got the hat.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't show it just yet.
Okay.
So I had a tough time early in life. I got fired from most of my first jobs. Just, I don't know. I was on a bad streak.
And your parents think this kid's a loser.
Right.
I don't know what.
I mean, one of them was like hog castrations. I threw up 3 times one day. Like, the farmer put his arm around me. He was like, this ain't
This
for
isn't
everybody.
for you. Yeah.
Little league, restaurant, whatever. So I finally land this job at Ace Hardware, and for a junior, senior in high school, this is a dream job. Like I'm filling propane tanks, and I'm making popcorn. There's contractors. There's like real men in here doing real things. Not handy. I'm mixing paint, whatever. So I worked my tail off for summer. And so, not knowing what was kind of next, I'm looking at these guys older than me, and I'm like, man, I'm making like $6.05 an hour. That guy's making 10. I'm like, this could be, I could get an apartment or something. If this
That's
goes
a
well.
career, man.
Yeah. So I remember that the summer going into my senior year, I sit down with the manager, and I was like, man, everybody was really into their resumes. I was like, man, I need some more responsibility. I really see this as my path. Like, I love this store. And he's like, okay, yeah, good point. He's like, I need you to do all the things you do before. But he's like, I want to teach you how to do inventory and ordering and all the other things. He's like, I'm going to give you your own aisle. I was like, big deal.
Whew,
yeah,
man.
Eat your heart out, ladies.
Yeah.
So anyway, aisle 7, furnace filters. An area that I know nothing about, but it's mine. So, he's like, stay up to date on the latest products. Well, not much innovation coming out of the furnace business. Order it, clean it, organize it, whatever.
Own it, man.
Yeah, it's aisle 7. And so I'm riding my bike to work one day, and there's this neighborhood going up of like, you guys have them here too, like pop-up homes, right? Starter homes, like they're all 90 homes go up, and they're all kind of the same. You can change the light sconce or the
It's
whatever
called
door.
Pulte.
For sure. Yeah. Didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But little different brand on the west side. Anyway, same thing though. So I'm riding my bike, and I'm like, this is a little entrepreneur. Steve's like, all these people are going to move in pretty soon. It's right down the street from Ace. They're going to need furnace filters. So I break into this half-built home. I go downstairs, get the furnace size, get back on my bike, and ride to Ace. And now we know that numbers kind of jump a little bit hole in the noggin here. But at the time, I'm riding my bike to Ace. I get to the back of the store. I put in this order for these. I'm going to show these guys how smart I am. Order shows up. I unbox them. And you were like Buddy the Elf when Santa was coming the next day. I spent the night there building this house out of furnace filters in my aisle of these new filters I'd ordered. Welcome, it's called Applegate. Welcome Applegate neighborhood. Anyway, a couple months go by. I'd actually made this roof of this house so big, my aisle, like the light was getting blocked. So I'd go down there with like a flashlight for people. Anyway, everybody's a little on edge. Who's this weird kid that just built this house of cards thing in that section?
Man.
Yeah. So anyway, a couple months later, here comes this lady. Her name was Deborah. And, hey, I just moved to the neighborhood. This is such a cute store. I'm like, hey, man, we got the name bag.
All right.
We're your local Ace, thank you.
You're drinking the juice now, bro.
Totally.
Oh, you're
We're
drinking
your
the
local
juice.
Ace.
She's
Yeah.
like, I need paint, and I need light bulbs, and I need all these starters.
No, you need filters,
They're not in your
Deborah.
aisle.
And I'm like,
these are not in my aisle.
You need filters? She's
Yeah.
like, sure. So I give her a stack of these things. I walk her bags out to her car, salute. I don't think I saluted, but, I was so proud of my job.
Right.
Anyway, she goes home, comes back like 5 minutes later. She's like, hey, these filters don't fit.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, no. I was like, new
Lady,
furnace.
I broke into your
New
house.
furnace. Sometimes you got to jimmy them in there a bit. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, okay. So I'm in the back of the store now. A little bit of panic. Man, did those numbers jump around? Did I write the right one? So the caller ID rings. Deborah so-and-so. Shoot. Hello? Hi. Can I please speak to your manager? So I do the old like, yeah. This is the manager.
Oh no.
She goes, "Hi, you have the nicest." She was being very kind. "You have the nicest sales boy. He is so sweet. He's kind. I need to return these filters, and I want to make sure either he's in the back of the store when I do it because I don't want to hurt his feelings. He seemed very excited about these, or can I bring him back like next week? Is there a day maybe he doesn't work? I really don't want to hurt his feelings." Now, you know me very well. I've never said anything like this in my life, but I am seeing full red. My career is fading. I don't know what I've done.
My career is
So I said, "Suck my dick, Deborah," and I hung up the phone. And I was like, "Oh my God, what did I just say? What did I just do?" So I'm sitting in the back.
No way.
It felt like I was in like electrocution chair, and I got a sponge, and I'm just like, I'm getting myself ready for this.
Oh my
For all
God.
you viewers. Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God.
years later, when I had to start a little
keeping
LLC
that hat.
No, it's
start the
mine.
business.
Yeah. There you go. Wow.
Suck my dick, Deborah. Oh man.
So she drove back to the store.
Does
told
she
my-
buy season tickets to the
I
Gold
don't
Hold
know
on,
where
did she
is
suck
now.
your dick?
No.
Oh.
But she drove back to the store and naturally told my manager what I had said. He sat me down and was like, "You're fired. You can't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know where that came from." And then
That's
he's
not
like,
me.
"You moron. Now that I'm looking closer, you ordered some like European size filter and you unbox it all to build your stupid fucking house. I can't return these things." It was 10 grand.
10 grand worth
Oh
of
my God.
filters? Oh my God. You could have
Well,
built a house with that.
I need your permission
Mhm.
because I have a company
Mhm.
and I'm looking to have a private label, and now I just figured out what the private label is going to be.
That's
Well,
awesome.
and we started investing in all these things, and people are like, you got to come up with something. And I was like, okay, cool. It'll never mean anything. It's just like a little holding pattern for an
Yeah.
investment having something. So then I made another investment, and actually SMDD holds my air company shares.
Oh.
And so I got a call from the Wall Street Journal, and they're like, "We want to know who kind of some of the lead investors are from the early rounds of this company. What does SMDD stand for?" And I was like, shoot, I didn't think I'd actually ever have to explain this to somebody. So on a whim, I was like, oh, it's because I invest in science, med device,
Love it.
defense. I don't know what I said, but anyway. So there's my
Awesome.
That's my
Awesome.
story.
Well, Steve, you are always
That's awesome.
such a pleasure to be with. I love you so much, buddy. You're like a
I
brother.
appreciate it.
Of
Thanks.
course. Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Of course.
Oh.
To be with you guys, yeah.
By the way,
Oh, yeah.
if you subscribe to our podcast, you'll be eligible to win a Grand Rapids Gold trip, and more details come soon.
Awesome.